41-year-old Sarah DeMars never knew the identity of her biological parents. That is until very recently, after a DNA test changed everything. Watch.
I was about, just over a month old when I was adopted. And we lived in Fort Wayne, Indiana. When I was about 7, 8 years old, we moved to Chicago. And then I spent the rest of my teenage years there. And then I went to Marquette University in Milwaukee. I have the one handwritten note from my foster family to my adoptive family, just sort of a really sweet, lovely note describing me as a really happy baby and a good eater and a good sleeper. My mother they described her as tall and pretty, and she had dark hair and dark eyes. They described her as a very good student. She was 17, and she described the father as wild and reckless. I actually never looked for the man in the notes. I always looked for my mother. It's an empty feeling for sure. I wonder if she thinks about me on my birthday. I wonder if she ever thinks about me. As a mother, I can't imagine not. I married a man that has very deep roots. Their family fabric is woven very tightly. So I did always sort of feel like a bit of an outsider. About a year or so ago, my son came home from school. They had a grandparents' day and he came home in tears because he didn't have a grandpa. That's actually the reason we got the DNA test. If you've taken a DNA test, you're in their system. So that's another email you often get, is another person has taken a DNA test, some distant relative, It was the Sunday night. I was lying in bed and bing, I have an email from MyHeritage. It sort of scrolled down to this larger box where it had a picture of a man and my husband. It says they found your father.
Wow. Sarah DeMars is with us now. She lives in the Netherlands with her husband and her 2 sons, but she has flown over to join us today for a special reunion. Sarah, welcome. How you doing?
Thank you. Yeah.
Yeah, you've got to be. Yeah. So I know you say you remember, like, pretty much your whole life you knew that you were adopted.
Yeah.
Weren't that close with your adoptive family.
No.
And always felt like you needed to find this missing piece.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
So when that pops up in your ancestry, what was it? What was the website?
MyHeritage.com.
When it pops up in MyHeritage.com, your email box,
yeah.
You're thinking this is another like 0.002 relative they found, some 7th cousin.
Yeah, you get a lot of those.
And what did you see instead?
I saw vader, which because we're registered in the Netherlands, the emails come in Dutch. And my Dutch is pretty good, but still, when you read, I think if it came in English, I don't think I would be able to understand what it said, you know? It was huge.
But it said Vader, like Vader, like Darth Vader.
Yeah, I am your father.
Totally,
yeah,
you see, that's why it all connects.
Yeah.
So you go to your husband and you're like, does it say what I think it says?
I literally fell out of bed, hit my head on the wall, and went running down the stairs with my computer in my pajamas and said, because he speaks Dutch fluently, and I said, am I crazy or does this say father? And he said, no, it says father. And we both were.
Oh.
Yeah.
Because now you know. Now it's like, okay, it wasn't your mom, but it was your dad.
Yeah.
And the wild and crazy one, according to what you had read.
Well, according to what I had read, but yeah.
Then we later find out maybe something different.
Yeah.
So what's the first thing you do? Who do you email first?
I didn't hesitate. I emailed them in the system. You can message the people in the system, but the way that it's all set up is, like my husband and he bought the kits. So his email address is registered with the kids.
Yep.
Or not his email address, but his profile. So I messaged what turned out to be his wife and just tried to be succinct, and said, the system has identified your husband as my father, and I would very much like to connect. And this is all of my contact information. Please let me know when we can speak further.
Was it an interminable wait to get the reply?
It was awful, and they didn't reply, and they didn't reply for days, and so of course then I went psychotic. I of course did the detective in me went looking for email addresses and Googling and Facebooking and Instagramming and anything I could try to find, and I did find him on Facebook. But yeah, my husband isn't an older person, but my dad's an older person, and he's not on Facebook all the time, but he has an account. So I sent a message on Facebook also, and no response.
Until there was. So he did finally return the message, and they spoke. but they have never seen each other in person. After this break, Sarah's going to meet her birth father in person for the first time. Don't go away. And we're back now with Sarah DeMars. Adopted at birth, she has never known the identity of her birth parents, but recently Sarah found her birth father after taking a DNA test, and they're about to meet in person for the first time, 41 years since Sarah was born. So, are you nervous?
Yeah. I can't guarantee I'll be steady or not. Something unpredictable won't happen.
I'm nervous for you, but I'm also super excited. I was just telling her, don't we have our love blanket around her right now? We have got the love blanket around you. And without further ado, Arland Metzger, come on out.
I know, right? You did great.
Arland, welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you for doing this, love. Have a seat. That was exciting. Oh. All right, so can we just get to you, Arland? How you feeling?
A little nervous.
Yeah, okay. You had no idea you had a daughter, another daughter.
No, ma'am, I did not. No, I did not. I didn't have any idea at all.
You're living in Texas?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, and so who was the first person how did you find out?
My sister contacted us and said that some woman is saying that she's related to us. And she said, Arland is a scam. And so,
Right?
so
That's what you would think, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And we had heard that we had a half sister somewhere. So I said, hey, it's probably our half sister. And she goes, no, she's in her 40s, so it couldn't be our sister because we're in our 60s, so it couldn't be our sister. And then my wife gets this email from Sarah, and she starts saying that she's related to us. And the next thing I know, we talked. We ended up talking on the phone or through emails. So I called my sister and I said, no, she is our relative. She is. As a matter of fact, I think I'm her dad.
Oh my gosh. So as it turns out, you had some fun in the mid-1970s.
Yes, ma'am. I was between the Navy and the Army. I'd gotten out of the Navy, and at that time...
Enough said. Yeah.
Right.
Right,
We've all had wild times.
But you did not know, so your birth mom never told you.
Or my family.
Nobody
No.
told you
No.
that,
And the
that
description of him is not him.
not wild and crazy.
Well,
Well, it said
contrary to
5'9".
popular belief. No, but it said it described 5'7".
5'7".
And it described the youngest of 3 children and other things that don't match. Little details that don't match at all.
Wow.
So she thought it was some other guy, I think.
Who knows?
But you two, I love it because some of these reunions can be tough. And you immediately told her to call you Dad.
Yeah.
Yes, ma'am, I did.
5 minutes.
She called me Arland, and I said, honey, do me a favor, just call me Dad.
We talk all. This is very weird because we talk all the time.
Right, you talk, and you
FaceTime.
apparently
Yeah.
look a lot like your mom.
She
Yeah.
does, ma'am.
And you look like him.
Yeah.
Yes.
You two look alike.
Yeah.
But the split screen of you and his mom is pretty striking.
Yeah.
I have to say, so Arland, you've been so good about welcoming her into the family, and
Yeah, he could have said, I didn't want
Don't want
anything to do with
anything.
this.
But this all started with an idea after your son, Xander, was missing having a grandpa.
Yeah.
And so you now have 2 additional grandchildren,
That gives us 12.
Xander and Max. Would you like to meet them?
I'd love to.
Let's meet your grandchildren, your 2 additional grandchildren, Xander and Max. Come on out, guys.
Grandpa! That's Grandpa!
Right, I'm right here.
I buddies?
You're a
You
doll.
nervous? They're nervous.
Is
He
that
said no, he's not nervous.
Not nervous.
Is that exciting to meet Grandpa? Yeah.
No.
They were really
Congratulations,
angry
buddy.
yesterday that they couldn't meet you immediately getting off the plane. Where is Grandpa?
Listen, I hope you guys have a wonderful life together. Thank you so much for sharing this beautiful moment with us.
Thank you. Thank you, Maria.